you were a child, a 5-year-old, a 3-year-old, a 9-year-old was fundamentally told explicitly, you are worthless. And your mother confirmed it because she didn't
by leaving
stop.
me there.
That's right.
From the New York City area, welcome to the Badass Counseling Show, where the master badass himself, Sven Erlandson, takes you deep and gives balm for the soul, baby.
Welcome, people. Someone please take me out of here. Welcome to the Badass Counseling Show podcast. I am your host, Sven Erlandson. Wherever you are checking in from, whether it is Oklahoma or Arkansas or Iceland or even Taiwan. We have listeners around the world, and we are just so grateful that you are here joining us. We love our listeners. We love your questions that you send into the show. We love your comments. It's just, we're so blessed. We really are. I was joking right as Rob was bringing up the show here because we have one of those times when oftentimes, usually Casey is over in the booth or she's remote and she'll be, tuning in with the show remotely via Zoom, and but we actually have her in the studio at the mixing board with Rob, touching his buttons, and he's slapping her hand saying, get away from my buttons and so forth. So it's always a trip when Casey comes out of the booth because she's like a tiger unleashed, and we love her to death, and she sort of runs us. And anyway, so the tiger is unleashed. Rob the Rocket and Casey are sitting next to me. What say ye, fine people?
There's so much in here to touch. I just can't. I can't resist.
I'm not prepared to discuss this.
All right. And it always has to turn dirty.
And so let me ask, I will ask, has anyone had any interesting earworms, music in your head this last week?
I always have an earworm, but I can't think of one right now.
I have had one. I've had Lover Boys, loving every minute of it in my head.
I like it.
Yeah, it's not only the message, and it's that driving beat. Love the Little Lover Boy. They weren't a big group. They were popular, but not a Hall of Fame group. But anyway, I've had some Lover Boy in me this week. So that's all I know about that, fine people. We're doing something different today. For our listeners, we want you to know we are doing something that we've never done before. First of all, as you know, we always enjoy having men as guests on the show, and we have 2 men today, and that can be a little tricky for hearing voices, but they have distinct names, and we'll find out about their stories. But what we're doing is we're actually doing 2 shows, and it will run one week, and then the subsequent week 2 shows with the same 2 men. These 2 fellas don't know each other, and we just thought it would be an interesting thing to sort of take for a test run. So with all that in mind, we're going to start with one, and then we'll bring the other one in after a few minutes. Rob, would you please go ahead and tell us about Skip?
All right, Sven, I would be happy to. Here we have Skip's message to us, and he said, I'm struggling with addiction, faith, father-son relationship, doubt, regret, shame, sense of direction, and purpose. I feel that a conversation with Sven would have the same effect on me as reading his book, There's a Hole in My Love Cup. His experience with suicide moved me to the point of breaking, and in a sense, feeling renewed. I punched the book once out of anger for realizing how fucked up I was and still am, but I know I've made some progress into becoming who I really want to be. One big question I'd ask Sven, how would you create the courage to live and become who you are without fear, doubt, regret, and shame?
Skip, welcome to the show.
Hello, Sven.
It's great to have you here. Great to have you here. And so you said that you would like to have a conversation with me. It would be the same as reading the Love Cup book. Short conversation, no. Maybe a very, very long conversation. But the book has a very different effect. But I want to get into your second sentence there. You said, his experience with suicide moved me to the point of breaking and, in a sense, feeling renewed. Tell me briefly what you were referring to there, if you would, please, Skip.
For a couple of years, I've been struggling with the thought, suicidal thoughts. And I didn't even register. My mind didn't even register it at the mo- at that moment. But when I was reading your book, that you mentioned very shortly your experience about with suicide, and it made me realize that it's something very specific, right? So it made me realize that I'm actually worth living, and that realization really just broke me. I just
What is it that makes you, this is going to sound like a dumb question, what is it that makes you think you're worth living? I know that sounds crazy to even ask, but what is it that made you think, or what is it specifically that makes you think you and your life are worth living? Just out of curiosity, because obviously prior to that, you didn't think that. And so what was the realization? What specifically makes you worth living?
The thing is that what you wrote in the book, your experience, to answer your question, right? It's actually worth things for my life. Basically, the book helped me realize that other people that are having similar thoughts or the same situation or the similar situation actually get to realize that their life is worth living, And because you made that realization in the book, I then did that myself,
Understood. First of all, how old are you, Skip?
31.
31. All right. What would you say, looking back, is the single biggest thing in your life that has most afflicted you? What's been the biggest source of pain in your life? Number one, top of the list. What are we talking about here?
Shame.
Shame, and regarding what? Where? Either A, shame regarding what, or from what source, or how the hell did it happen? How did it come from?
It was sexual abuse, and well, pretty much that, yeah.
Okay, and so
I mean,
I'm going to ask you a question then, a couple of questions, and if you don't want to answer them, it's okay. Just say, I don't really feel comfortable with answering that, and that's totally okay. Okay, I'm going to ask you then. So you said sexual abuse. You brought it up, which takes courage even to admit. You didn't say that in your write-up, and so I admire you for even bringing it up. It can be a very difficult topic to discuss. Okay. And again, you don't have to answer any of the questions if you don't want to. It's totally okay. But let me ask you, how old were you when you were sexually abused?
I was a kid. Happened twice.
How old?
Oh, 5. I was around 5 or 6.
5 or 6. And you say it happened 2 times. And who did it? Do you know?
It was 2 kids, and then it was the cleaning lady.
Okay, first time was 2 kids, and the second time was the cleaning lady. All right, and in that time and the time afterwards, okay, an hour later, a day later, a week later, a month later, a year later, what was the effect on you immediately, or what do you remember?
Shutting down. I remember since I was a kid, I never talked about anything that was remotely emotionally charged or whatever. I remember just suppressing everything, anger, frustration, everything, man. I mean, I've been to therapy before, but your book, man. I mean, it really shook me. Thank you.
You're welcome. Good. Glad to hear that. Hopefully, shook the tree in a good way. You said good. What do you think the reason is? Help people understand. For someone who's never been sexually abused, they may not understand why sexual abuse would cause you, in this case, to shut down. Yeah. Why did you shut down? As best as you can think about it, looking back, why did you shut down?
Well, I didn't say anything to my mom, and my parents were divorced, right? So my father was never there. I didn't have the support. So when you're a kid and you don't have that defense or that support from your parents, especially during a time where you're being sexually abused, well, you're gonna have two reactions, right? It's gonna be flight or fight. I had flight.
Okay.
So I did.
Understandable. And you were just trying to survive. You were just trying to make it through one more day. You mentioned that you didn't tell that Dad was gone. Dad's out of the picture, so obviously you couldn't tell him. What was the reason? And you're 5 or 6, so no one is any way, even remotely disparaging you for anything. You were trying to survive. All right. So there's no judgment here. Okay, Skip. And so let me ask you, what do you think the reason was that you didn't tell your mom? It's okay. There's no judgment. I'm just curious.
She later found out because one of her friends was the person that shamed me in my own house without her knowledge.
Wait a minute. Another person was the person who shamed you, or was the person who sexually abused you?
The mother of the kid who abused me, she shamed me in front of a ton of people in my own house.
Okay.
Without the knowledge of my mother. I was just 5 or 6, and she was just going at me, like, oh, you're gay or you're, I don't know what. And her kid is like 4 or 5 years older than I was. I'm like, what the hell is wrong with this lady? But yeah.
So that woman in that moment said out loud with the other people around that her boy sexually molested you?
She was trying to portray me as the abuser.
Okay. So basically, right. But, okay, and that's wrong. But that means prior to her saying that, she had knowledge
that her son abused me, yes.
Right. Which means, and is it reasonable to assume that no one was around when these boys sexually abused you?
Oh, yeah, no, that was another day, yeah.
Okay. So if no one was around when these boys abused you, and if you didn't tell anyone, then there's only one other option. One of those two boys told someone, and it got back to the mother, or one of those boys told their own mother. Is that correct?
I have no idea.
But reasonably, if there were only 3 people there, one of those 3 people had to tell, right?
Exactly. It was one of those 2 boys.
Right. You didn't. So one of those 2 boys told their mother.
Right.
Right. And then publicly, in front of other people, this woman chooses to shame a 5-year-old.
Oh, yeah.
That you somehow caused this to happen. Was your mother, did you say your mother was present when this woman was doing this? It was in your home?
She was at work.
She was at work. So then it eventually got back to your mother. Okay.
Yeah.
Great. Thank you. Okay. Now it makes sense. So then what was your mother's response to you?
She took me to therapy because I wasn't talking.
Okay. Do you recall when she actually talked to you first about it?
I don't recall exactly, but I remember that it was day and night, Okay. So she started taking me to these places. I mean, it just started to notice like a 5 or 6 year old would notice changes in his life.
Okay.
Just going to therapy, doing more stuff, getting away from those people, those kind of things.
Is there a possibility that you told her and somehow blocked it out or don't remember, or that would have never happened?
I'm pretty sure I blocked it out. I mean, I wasn't talking.
So, you weren't talking. Okay. And so then one more question. Do you know, and this requires you to really dig deep here, and you're doing great. Stay with me here. Do you know specifically that your mom took you to those therapists and doctors or whatever for being sexually abused, or did your mother potentially take you there because you had shut down and she noticed a distinct change in your behaviors that she had no explanation for? Or did you know definitively that that's why she was taking you to these doctors?
Well, I'm pretty sure when I was a kid, I didn't realize that. But now as an adult, I know that she did. I asked her like years later.
She did what? I asked you an either or question. Which one was it?
She took me because she knew that I was sexually abused.
Okay, she knew.
And the abuse caused this shutdown.
Okay, so she did not. So then, if I'm clear, she did not recognize, even though you are telling us, I shut down, I never talked about anything, I chose out of fight or flight or freeze or fawn, I chose flight, all of these things, and she didn't, of her own accord, notice any of that.
I'm pretty sure she didn't because she knew about the situation that I had with that woman and her kid. And
did you say you're pretty sure she did not, or did? After this happens, you said, I shut down, man. I fucking shut down. I didn't open up to anybody. I never talked about it. Let me ask you, do you believe, to the best of your recollection, you're 5 or 6 years old, probably, well, you've already said, the most traumatic event of your life. Is it reasonable to assume, based on what you've said, that you went, or perhaps you outright remember, that you went through a massive personality shift as a result of that event, from that moment, day forward?
Yeah.
Okay. And then what I'm asking is, prior to your mother discovering through the grapevine, did your mother recognize this massive personality shift in Skip?
Yes.
She did.
Yes.
Do you recall what the period of time was between this event happening to you, this traumatic, terrible sexual abuse happening to you, and her finding out that you had been sexually abused?
Around a month.
A month. And so in that month, you're saying that she recognized this change in your behaviors? And if so, how do you know that?
Because she started taking me to therapies and talking to specialists. And
Wait a minute. I thought a minute ago you said she started taking you to therapies because she found out you had been sexually abused.
Oh, I thought you were talking about prior.
Earlier, no. Earlier I asked you, did she start taking you to therapy because she found out about sexual abuse, or because there'd been a change in how you act? You said it was because of the sexual abuse. Now I'm asking you sort of this exact same question again. What I'm trying to determine is did she recognize a change in you before she discovered that you had been sexually abused? And do we know if she took you to doctors because of the sexual abuse or because she recognized a change in your behaviors?
No, and she just took me to therapies and stuff like that after, because
after. Okay, so then a change in your personality has already happened for that month before she finds out this news through the grapevine.
Yeah.
Right. Doesn't register or doesn't do anything about it. You're going through this stuff. Okay. Got it. That makes sense. Now, I have one more question, then we're going to take a quick break. And the question is simply this. What do you think the reason is that you didn't tell your mother?
Wow.
And why? Just out of curiosity, I'm curious now. Why did you say wow right there?
It's the first time I think about it, honestly.
Okay. And so why do you think you didn't tell your mother? We knew why you didn't tell your dad. He was out of the picture. But why didn't you tell mom? Right. Again, no, there's nothing wrong with it. You're a 5-year-old kid. What the fuck do you know, right? This is something that's never happened to you before. But why do you think you didn't tell your mother?
That's a tough one.
If you were to speculate?
I was a 5-year-old kid who didn't understand what was going on.
Understood. Understood. Prior to that, were you a kid who asked a lot of questions? Were you an outgoing kid?
Yeah.
Chatty?
Yeah, very.
Okay. So then here this new experience happens to you, and you shut down, overwhelming experience and so forth, terrible experience.
Yeah.
And you didn't ask, which there can be a million different responses to sexual abuse. None of them wrong. None of them. Okay.
I know.
Right. But I'm just curious. One of those boys chose to go to their mother. And that may have been bad. There's no bad. There's no good, whatever. I'm just curious, trying to find out what was going on inside of the little boy who was the victim. That's all.
Yeah, I don't know how to answer that.
Okay, then one more question before the break. And the question is this. What went on inside of you when you were publicly humiliated by that mother?
Oh, man.
What went on inside of you? What did you feel?
Deep shame.
Right.
Just through the roof, I mean, I couldn't believe that an adult that I trusted, that my mom trusted, would shame me in such a way, She was just like adamant, angry.
Right.
I'm like, holy crap.
That makes total sense. We're going to take a quick break, and we'll be right back after this.
I'm in a really healthy relationship now with someone I trust, but that wasn't always my story. I was married for 12 years, and there was cheating, a lot of it. And even though I've moved on, I realized I hadn't actually healed. That stuff doesn't just disappear. It shows up in fear, in doubt, in the way you love. I started reading Cheating Sucks because I didn't want my past to sabotage my current relationship. And for the first time, I feel like I understand what happened and how to finally let it go. Cheating Sucks. Available in paperback and audiobook at badasscounseling.com.
This show provides soul counseling intended to entertain and inform and is not medical advice. Now, back to the badass.
And we are back to the show. We are now moving from Skip over to Everett. Skip told us of being sexually abused when he was 5 or 6 years old by a couple of neighborhood boys, older boys, and then later by the cleaning lady. We're going to do a hard shift over here now to Everett with a completely different story. Go ahead, Rob.
All right, Sven. Everett wrote in, and the subject line was, owning my shit from my own childhood and my parenting of my own adult children. And Everett's message was, I am worthless. Your podcast hit home like a rock. Then I realized, even though I was different, I still created the same worthlessness in my own children. I've started the process of owning my shit with them, but I do realize they still have to do the work.
Everett, welcome to the show.
Good morning. Can you hear me okay?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Thanks for coming on. Everett, first of all, how old are you?
I'm 57.
57. And how old are your kids?
My oldest is 30 and my youngest is 19.
Okay, helpful. Thank you. Okay. You open with a very powerful statement. You said, I am worthless. And then you go on with an even more powerful statement. I still created the same worthlessness in my children. Two very powerful things. Okay. Massive admissions. I'm curious, how is it, above all else, that you believe you created that same worthlessness in your children?
I was in a safe place.
Meaning?
Anger, my self-worth didn't exist, so I used everything that a normal child would do or act as a hit to, I'm a worthless piece of crap. So I set down rules. I was extremely strict. I carried a lot of anger. Didn't see it at the time.
Okay. Extremely strict, carried a lot of anger. And tell me again, what was the connection between laying down all the rules, being extremely strict, and you having no self-worth? And what was the sort of the connection of how you felt and to how you treated them? What do you see in one sentence as the connection?
I acted just like my parents.
Right. Okay.
I acted just like my father.
So you were simply you're saying that basically I just did what was done to me. I didn't know any better.
So my childhood was physical and emotional abuse.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't do the physical, but I did the emotional because I just wasn't safe. There was no hugging or you had a good day. If they had a bad day, I took it personally and got angry and said, you're grounded for 2 months. And it just, I know that now. I see that now.
Sure. What are you feeling right now? Give me a feeling word, please, Everett.
Heartbroken.
Heartbroken. And what is the most heartbreaking thing about what you're discussing right now? What is the single most heartbreaking part?
That my kids feel worthless.
Not actually, but see themselves as worthless? Is that what you mean?
Yes. The same way I did. That I created that.
Give me one more feeling word. What else are you feeling? What's the giggle?
I carry it because I carried a lot of that guilt and shame.
Because of that or because of other stuff?
Yeah, because of my parenting that, like I said, I did everything different, but I didn't.
Okay. And so you did.
I still created I created the same effect that my own childhood parents did to me, just being so hard ass.
Well, you said I did everything different, but I thought you said you did the same thing your dad did.
The hollering and screaming.
So what did you do different? What's the top thing you
So
did different?
my childhood was my dad would stand in my bedroom and tell me I was a worthless piece of shit and I'd never amount to anything.
Uh-huh.
So I didn't do that to my kids.
Okay.
But so I went into a self-worth thing with journaling, and this is how I come to where I am today, realizing all this crap because my self-worth was non-existent. This is how I think I still believe I'm a worthless piece of shit, probably.
Right. And so
everything they did as a child, normal childhood rebellion, if you want to call it that, or
right,
not wanting to be
sure, normal.
I took normal kid stuff.
You took it personally, and the underlying message the personal message that you felt
to my own self-worth. Yes.
Okay. And what was the message that you felt every time your kids, didn't listen to you or blew their nose on, the tablecloth or whatever, did kid shit? You believed, you felt, even if you never thought about it at the time, looking back, what was the underlying message that you felt like they were sending to you? They weren't, they were just being kids, but what was the underlying message you felt like they were sending to you?
That's good. They didn't love me.
They didn't love me. Right. You said your opening sentence was, I am worthless, and you have since said it again. What, if you were to be totally honest, just being straight here, all right, talking from, and you can even close your eyes when you answer this question, okay? In fact, I want you to close your eyes, all right? You're not missing anything. I still am just sitting here, so there's nothing. I want you to close your eyes and just answer one question. There's no right or wrong answer, and there's no judgment. Today, what percent do you see yourself as worthless? If you were to speak from your core, from your down deep and feel the answer, what percent do you truly see yourself as worthless, being totally honest?
70%.
70%. Okay. And then the 30% that you do not see as worthless, what is that 30%?
Doing the journaling, I started working on the worthless. I had homework where I had to write something about value about myself every day. So the 30% would be,
what's the top of the list?
I know that 70% shouldn't be true or real. I shouldn't see that, or it shouldn't be there.
Sure, but that doesn't make it go
30%,
away. What is the 30% that you actually see as having worth about you?
I'm human.
So you have value simply because you exist.
Yes. That was part of my homework.
Okay. And above all else, other than the hollering and the screaming and the hitting, how was you being worthless most conveyed to you as a kid?
I wasn't never recognized as a kid unless I did something wrong.
You were recognized as what?
As just existing.
Okay. So how was your worthlessness most conveyed to you as they, or so it felt?
My answer wants to be when they stood in the door and said, "You're a worthless piece of crap."
There it is. There it is. Okay. And you said when they stood in the door, yet previously you said when Dad stood in the door.
So is my dad. Yeah.
Okay. And what was the message then? If it was different, what was the fundamental message you got from your mom?
Because I know your podcast, I kind of,
good.
My mom just left it. She didn't say nothing. She just listened to it and went on about her business, or maybe she toned it out or ignored it.
How convenient for her then. So did you have siblings? Yes or no?
Yes, I had a sister.
Older or younger?
Younger.
Was she treated differently than you were treated?
Yes.
By Dad?
Yes, she was Daddy's girl.
I see. So now we can no longer claim that dad did his best. We can no longer claim that dad did his best with you because he treated her better. So he was capable of better. You might even be sitting at the motherfucking kitchen table having your Fruit Loops and your grapefruit, and he's being sweet to his golden child little girl, his baby girl, and he's being, shithead to you. He's literally like turning a lamp on and off, turning it on for her, turning over to you literally a second later and turning it off, turning it back on, off, on, off. So it wasn't that he did his best. He literally proved to you, likely every single day, and micro moments within that day, many, many times, that he was capable of far better. He just chose to turn it on for her. Is that correct?
Yes.
So he didn't.
Seeing that now, yes.
Yeah. Right. And back to the other thing, and then I'm coming back over to you, Skip. Back to the other thing then, you said mom just sort of left it or tuned it out. Did dad, how did dad treat your mom? More like how he treated you or more like how he treated your sister?
There was silence pretty much in the house with them. The only time I even remember them really communicating is when they got in an argument.
Okay. And did dad holler at her and scream at her?
No, he usually didn't say anything too much until, my mom would escalate it to the point like throwing coffee on him, and then he would holler some mean belittling name.
All right. So mom, generally speaking, you're saying mom would escalate?
Yeah, she would start talking and he wouldn't respond or ignore or however you do that. And then she would just do something to make it go further.
Well, then, one last question then, sorry. What if, recognizing that in any relationship, whether between you and your boss, you and your subordinates, you and your buddies, you and your kids, you and your, wife, girlfriend, whatever, there are a whole bunch of different powers and fears operating. Fear that you might leave me, you control the money, fear you might be a bitch, fear you might be an asshole to me, whatever, all these different fears and powers. What would you say was the distribution of power in your parents' relationship? Who had what percent of the power? Was it 20-80, 80-20? Was it 60-40? What was the distribution of power just between mom and dad?
Mom probably had 80% of the power and dad had 20.
All right. Think about what you just said. Mom had the power, and she would no doubt then use it to what, her benefit? Is that
yes?
Okay. So mom had the
now
power.
That you're saying it, that's exactly what I.
Are you seeing where I'm going?
Yes, I am.
Okay, good. I'm going to spell it out for those who might be new to the show. Mom had the power we're taking it from a boy's perspective. That's all we've got to go on here. But from where you sat, you know these people as well as anyone. From where you sat, mom had 4 times as much power as dad. So dad was abdicating at least some of his power. It wasn't just 50-50. And she was overrunning him or taking that power from him or both, whatever. And mom had 4 times as much power, yet when he's screaming, and she would use that power to protect herself or to extract things for herself, you just said, but when he's screaming and hollering at you, you worthless fucking piece of shit, and when he's hitting you, she tunes it out. She uses her power for her benefit. She does not use her power to protect her son. Who, as you see it from where you sit today looking backwards, who committed the greater crime? Dad, in hollering, yelling, calling you a fucking piece of shit and hitting you. You don't report that mom hit you. Maybe she did. You don't report that mom put you down. Maybe she did. But at the very least, mom had 4 times as much power as dad and did not protect you. Who committed the greater crime? And only one person can answer this question for you, and that is you. Everyone else can have their fucking 2 cents of opinion, but in the end, only you can answer it. So I'm curious from where you sit. And there's no right or wrong answer, but who committed the greater crime?
My mother.
And what fundamentally was the crime in your childhood for the first 20 years, if you were to put it into one sentence, that your mother committed against you?
She let it happen.
She let it happen. In other words, she didn't protect you.
Yeah, she would, every time when the arguments would escalate, she would actually leave the house and leave me there. And I always wondered why she did that when she knew he hated me.
It sounds like it could almost be argued that she hated you more.
That's what it's starting to feel like.
She'd leave the house completely unprotected, even though she had the power. I'm going to give you a little breather here. Skip, just out of curiosity, Skip, so we went into some of your story there, Skip, about being sexually abused. Okay. I want to ask one check-in question first before I move forward. Briefly, what are you feeling right now as a result of either my conversation with you or perhaps even what you've heard from Everett, whatever? Where are you at right now? I want a feeling word. What are you feeling right now?
I'm feeling grateful, honestly, because I've looked for help in different places, different people, and I appreciate this moment, you know.
Sure. Okay. Thank you. Now, let me ask you this. If there were a second feeling that you're feeling, what are you feeling? Grateful is excellent. Thank you. And what is this second? If there were another feeling or two that you're feeling, what else are you feeling right now?
Discomfort to a level yeah.
What is the most uncomfortable, discomforting thing that you're feeling? Where's the discomfort come from? It makes total sense, but I'm just curious. What's causing you to feel most uncomfortable right now?
Talking about something that I never talk about, not even in past sessions.
With other therapists and stuff.
Yes.
And why? And what's the reason? And there's nothing wrong with it. It's actually quite common. What's the reason you never talked about it with past therapists?
Just this deep-rooted shame.
So why are you talking about it now?
Because the book that you wrote actually made me realize a lot of stuff.
And so why does that make you want to talk about it now?
Because I want to be better.
Okay.
I want to be free of it.
That's fair. So you told me about the boys molesting you. Yeah. And but how long later was it before the cleaning lady molested you, sexually abused you?
Months
later. Okay. Did you have any siblings?
No, I'm an only child.
Only child. And your mom was a single mom then, I assume?
Yeah, she was working all the time.
Okay. She was working all the time. And what sort of work did your mom do, if you don't mind?
She was a director of a school.
Director of a school. Wow. Smart woman, I'm sure. Yeah. And so she's a director of a school, and the cleaning lady sexually abusing you, did it happen during the daytime?
Nighttime.
Okay. And that actually surprises me, that a cleaning lady is working at night unless in a corporate office. How would a cleaning lady have access to you? Was it in your home?
Yeah. So usually here in Mexico, if the cleaning lady doesn't have a home nearby in her town, she would stay at a house. So usually here we have houses here in Mexico have a third or fourth bedroom, small bedroom for cleaning ladies. And my mom was not there because she was working. And one night, this lady just decided to abuse me. And as she was doing this to me, my mom arrived. I remember this clearly. And she just fucking panicked, panicked. She just started getting dressed and stuff like that, and just went downstairs running towards her room. And by then I was already silent. So my mom came home, she went into my room, nothing happened. I didn't say anything, and it just went on. I later told my mom, like 10, 15 years later, that happened.
When you say it just went on, you mean life went on? You said
Yeah.
she came down, she panicked. Okay. And you 10, 15 years later told her what?
I told my mom about it, like what happened with that cleaning lady, and she was just torn to tears because she didn't know
So when she got home, she didn't know.
that happened. Yeah, because the cleaning lady just like quickly moved on to her room.
Okay. And so by this point, you were already in therapy, right?
Yeah, I was already silent.
Okay. And in your therapy, to the best of your knowledge, did you ever discuss being sexually abused?
I was a kid, man. I mean, the person that was treating me, she just said, "Hey, can you draw something like this or try to draw that, stuff like that, just to figure it out?" Because I would not talk, man. I mean,
Okay.
I went silent.
Okay. So you didn't even talk about the sexual abuse in therapy as a child.
That's right.
I see. You say your mom knew that you had been sexually abused. And did the cleaning lady still live with you after she sexually abused you?
Yeah, for a few months, and then she left for some reason or another.
Okay. When you look back on this sequence of events, because this happened within just a few months of each other,
Yeah.
4 or 5, 6 months, whatever it was. As you look back on that, what thoughts do you have right now? Having said it out loud, what thoughts do you have right now?
It makes me realize the repercussions that it has done in my life, and regarding personal relationships, work relationships. I have my notebook here from all the journaling I've been doing.
Are you mad at that little boy that he didn't say anything? The little boy that was Skip?
Yeah,
Are you?
I don't know if I'm angry with that boy, but I'm really angry with the lady.
Sure.
I did write, you're for sure that I wrote about that bitch, because I mean that woman really did me a disfavor.
Which fucked you up more? And maybe there's no more or less. Maybe there's no either or. Which fucked you up more? What those boys did to you, or what the cleaning lady did to you?
The boys.
Why?
It involved more things.
Meaning?
Meaning that they abused me in a different way.
Okay. Do you feel comfortable saying it?
No.
That's fair. That's fair. But for you, it was worse. It was more humiliating.
Yeah.
Right. And in your journaling, have you been journaling and writing those boys letters that you don't send?
Yep.
And what is the single biggest message that you say to those boys in your letters?
Go F yourself.
What's that? Go fuck yourself?
Yeah, basically.
Okay. All right. I want to bring Casey in here for a minute. Casey, do you have any thoughts for, we're talking to Skip right now. Any thoughts or questions? If not, I have more.
One question I have is, are you writing letters also to the mother that humiliated you? Because I don't know what it's like to be in your position, Skip, but I'm so angry at the mother that then shamed you for what her sons had done. Even if you were the perpetrator, like for a mother to shame any child over this kind of thing.
And you weren't a perpetrator, but go ahead.
You were
Casey.
not. I mean, you were the victim, and you were shamed by the mother. I just don't understand that.
I know.
Were there any consequences for her in this? And are you trying to get your rage, hatred, hurt of her abuse of you out?
Wow. I've tried, but I'm really still angry at her, even after writing a couple of those letters that you never send.
Yeah.
And yes, it was a very, very weird situation, because she was in my own house. My mother wasn't there. There were other kids that had nothing to do. I think there was even another adult there. the consequences for this woman was that my mother, when she later found out, they were all part of this group of friends, right? So my mother said it, and somehow this lady transformed the whole situation where I was the perpetrator, you know? Even after my mom said to her friends, you know, this lady did this to my son, she somehow brainwashed the friends, and you know, I was friendless for years after that. So the consequences for that woman, I mean, I guess it's her own life. You know, the way that she lives is her own purgatory, I guess. And if you think about it a little bit more, I mean, the fact that she was so ashamed that her son would abuse me, and she probably and her kid probably abused other people, and that's how she found out about me.
And perhaps her own children were also abused by somebody in her home. And to deflect from whatever was going on there, you know, she's blaming you for things.
Blaming the victim.
Blaming the victim, exactly.
I want to make a quick shift over here, over to Everett. I want to keep you in the room here, Casey. Everett, I'm going to check in with you now, based on what we've brought up with you and maybe what you've heard from Skip. What's going on inside of you? What are you feeling right now, Everett?
We were children and they were adults.
Feeling words? What are you feeling, Everett?
Sad.
Give me another feeling. That's good. Give me another feeling.
Hurt, but also it keeps cycling back to my own kids. So shame.
Shame that you've done, that you've passed it on to your kids. Okay.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay. The way you're going to heal, part of what it's going to take for you to heal, Everett, is you need to have 2 bottles. And one of those bottles is all the stuff that was done to you. Okay? And that's inside of you. And the other bottle is all the stuff that you did to your kids. Okay? That you feel that shame for. Okay? On top of the shame from your childhood that you were shamed. You're bad, you're bad, you're bad. And then there's the shame you feel and how bad you feel and the guilt you feel over what you did to your kids. Okay? That guilt of what you did to your kids, I need to heal you first. In your childhood, you need to focus on bottle number 1 of what was done to you. Bottle number 2, every time that shame starts to come up, you have to open up that bottle, number 2, that shame over shit that you did to your kids, and you need to put all of that into bottle number 2. Okay? And you can come back to that. We're going to come back to that in your healing process. Okay? You can come back to that. There'll be plenty of time to shame yourself later. And it'll be important to pull that out and look at it and feel it in order to be an even better father to your kids now, or at least to help them heal. Okay? So all of those feelings that you feel about what was done to your kids, what you did to your kids, it's all legit. But we need to silo those 2 things. We need to separate them. Otherwise, you won't go into the full, you will be disinclined to go into the fullness of what was done to you, because it brings up everything that you did to your kids. So every time that stuff that you did to your kids starts to come up, you bring out that second bottle and you stick it in there and you put it over here on the shelf and you decide, you know what? I'm going to come back to that later. And
that's exactly what's happening.
You're doing that.
That's exactly what's happening. That's what happens. As soon as I start trying to deal with my own childhood, my brain goes, what, you did it over here.
That's right. That's right.
And I get wrapped up in that.
That's right. And you know what? I got a lot of clients, a lot of guys in particular, fathers, who when we discuss what was done to them, they don't want to go on the attack. And I don't need you to ever confront your living, breathing parent, but we do need to confront the memories and what was done to you in the past. And they feel uncomfortable going in and attacking that stuff in the past because it brings up all the pain of what they've done to their own kids. So we have to separate those 2. Might that be something you would be able to do to begin to separate those two. And you can save what you did to your kids. You can save that and come back to that another time after this first one, after we heal you from your own past. Do you think you might be able to separate those two as you go through this?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. KC, any questions or thoughts regarding Everett?
I have one question for you. At what age did you get out from under the abuse from your parents? In other words, when did you stop living with them, or what's the situation now?
I joined the military at 18.
I just want to say that you are trying to stop the cycle of abuse, right? You are the person that is finally in your family lineage saying, I am going to get out from under this humongous rock that has been put on my back, this rock of shame and self-hatred that has been put on me by my parents. I'm going to get out of that by self-healing and working on myself. And then I'm going to simultaneously try to help my children heal. So I think I want to say to you to try to look at that. I know I'm not going to say stop trying to shame yourself, because that doesn't work, but give yourself a little credit for trying to get out from something that was really severe abuse. I mean, a kid being told on a daily basis that they suck and they're worthless. I mean, I had those feelings and thoughts about myself, and I had parents that told me how beautiful and wonderful I was every day. So I don't imagine how you get out from underneath that and then try to help your children get out from underneath that. So please give yourself a little bit of grace for that, because that is a beautiful thing that you're doing, and it's a strong thing, and it's a brave thing.
Thank you.
How does that feel, Everett?
Enlightening. I want to give myself credit, but it's still heartbreaking.
It is.
And it's something that most people wouldn't survive. And then the fact that you're trying to heal your own children, the fact that you recognize the mistakes you made and you're trying to atone for them now, that is you trying to stop the cycle of abuse, and you might be very successful at it.
And the reason that it still feels like shit is because that's how powerfully embedded that stuff is, pressed into that cement deep in your soul, those messages of you're a worthless piece of shit. That's why that has to be your primary focus, because that cycle of shame that Casey was talking about, it's still raging inside of you. We solve the greater problem of you becoming present, fully present to your kids. Now, we solve the greater problem of that problem by going to the greater problem, and that is rooting out, jackhammering all of that cement with a bullshit message, because you were a child, a 5-year-old, a 3-year-old, a 9-year-old was fundamentally told explicitly, you are worthless, and your mother confirmed it. Because she didn't
by leaving
stop.
me there.
That's right. By tuning it out. She had all the power to stop it. By not stopping it, that is tacit approval again and again and again. We're going to pause the show right here. We're going to bring this show to an end. This is the end of episode 1. And we're going to draw it to a close, and we're going to invite our listeners to come back for episode 2 next week, as we dive further into the story of Everett and being told he's a worthless piece of shit, and his attempt to heal himself so that he can help his own children heal more, but also so that he can finally come out from under the rock and enjoy life. And we're going to come back with Skip, who was sexually abused at age 5 or 6, 2 different times by young boys and by the house cleaner. Devastating story that he's never shared with anyone, even in therapy. We're going to go further into these stories in episode 2. Please tune back in next week.
The Badass Counseling Show is strictly copyrighted. No copies may be made without the express written consent of the Badass Counseling Show, LLC. The Badass Counseling Show is produced by Karen Camparelli and Robert H. Friedman. Executive producer Sven Erlandson. Original music by two-time Emmy Award-winning composer Trevor Morris. Have a kick-ass day.